thank you so very much for being here. I know that you and Roxana and also all the life coaches and all the people who are involved into the emotional therapy are speaking all the time today that it is possible to live without fear, that it is possible to use these times that are not at all kind but are exceptional, because you can see things that yesterday or the day before yesterday you could hide. Now it's not more possible because you can see it up front. And I know that you and Brendan Bays are doing a lot of campaigns and meditation, free meditation and events to tell this to the world. What you can share about fears? What did you experience in all the online events that you have all around the world?
Well, there's two questions, Roxana. And first of all, thank you very much for having me here at this program. And I would love to say something about fear and you know, that we don't have to feel this fear. Well, in my experience of what I have seen, I have been working with Brandon Bays and the journey for over 25 years right now. It's actually 26 years. And there are two kinds of fears. There is a real fear that is a signal, a warning signal that I get when I need to do something, when I should take action. But this arises in the present moment. And then there is a fear that is an imagined fear, a fear of the future, of what might happen, of what could happen, but it's not here yet. And it's that fear that is so driven in our internal world, because we have been brought up with it. We have been born with it almost. We're spending so much time in trying to figure out what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week, next month, next year. And it takes us away from what is actually important and from what is actually happening right now. Because if we could be fully present to what is happening now in this moment, then if a fear arises in that, I can really open with it, and I actually do get a message or something that says, you know, I should perhaps go somewhere, or I should do something with, if I had an investment, or I should cancel I don't know. There is a real kind of impulse that lets me know that I need to take a certain action. And then there is the imagined fear, which I think is 90-something% of the fear that drives humanity today. And especially with the circumstances going on where we have, I know you in Romania, you are literally next door to Ukraine, but it's all over Europe. You know, we have seen millions of people leave Ukraine. As I read, I think it was last week, 4 million children have been displaced since the war began in February. I have no idea what this generation or how this generation is going to cope, because this is serious stuff, you know. I've been fortunate enough, I haven't grown up with something like that, and yet all of us have different circumstances of being triggered by something, and then this fear arises. And then we can use current circumstances, and I can say, well, I feel fear because there is an impending World War III, because there is an impending inflation, because there is an issue with my husband, because I could lose my job. All imagined stuff of what could happen. And then we're driving ourselves crazy. And Brandon Bays has devised a method, the journey method, born from her own personal experience of healing from a tumor the size of a basketball quite a long time ago now. I think it was
almost 30.
It's, I think it was in '94, where through what she uncovered and realized during that time was healing from this tumor in 6.5 weeks, and literally shrank it to nothing. And out of this personal experience, she has created the journey method. And rather than telling people how to heal, she's teaching people how they can find a way through emotion, triggered emotion, mind-born emotions, through them, and opening into a presence that is a profound presence of source, of love, of intelligence and internal wisdom that resides in each and every one of us. And it's a repeatable process. And from here, we can heal cellular memories, where usually it's something that happened to us when we were children, when we were small, that somebody scared us, and we weren't able to deal with that kind of emotion at that time. And so we put a lid on it and put it away, and somehow it has become a trauma or a cellular memory and put away. And every time an incident triggers this old fear, it rises up, and we just blame current circumstances. So it's a powerful healing method that clears us from old issues. And if we do not pay attention to some of these issues, they can actually turn into physical illness because they are buried in our cells. And so that's in a really quick and short nutshell of what the journey is, what the journey does, and a little bit about fear. And this is kind of my explanation about fear. Doesn't, if it resonates, I think if you hear something and you're not sure if this is true or not true, just listen with your heart, because I do feel that words spoken from a deeper truth carry a resonance, and you can hear and hear whether these words make sense or feel truthful to you. So you don't need to believe anything that anybody tells you. And the one thing that I have learned through Brandon's work is we can start listening, not with our ears, but we can start listening with our heart, and here we can really make a distinction whether something is something somebody said or is born out of someone else's experience. And even then, for me, it would be, I want to experience that myself, and this is available for everybody. And I've already told you earlier, Roxana, we're throwing the doors wide open at the moment, because we really feel that this is a critical time in humanity's history right now. And we would love to see more households, more people have availability to this profound and deeply healing work. And so we've just created a crazy discount that literally just kind of makes it possible for us to offer this work. And if you know of anyone, or if you yourself feel that you could benefit from it, or that you are driven by an ongoing and regular emotional issue such as fear, or maybe it's anger, or maybe it's guilt of some kind, I don't know, then it's time to start to look within, find what's causing it, what the root cause is, and then you can start clearing it out. And once you clear it out, I promise you feel lighter, you feel freer, and life is more beautiful. We can see our world for what it really is. And I'm not saying we shouldn't worry about what is, but if I worry 24 hours a day, it doesn't make the problem go away. It just makes me worried. That's all. It doesn't change anything. And in present moment awareness, I can really start to listen if it's time to maybe leave the country, or time to do something that would make a difference in my life. So these are my words. I hope that is answering some of what you've asked.
For sure, it did. And I was wondering, Ioana, hearing this, with your experience, why do people fear emotions, fear going into emotions? I had experienced with people that say, oh no, what? It's a process that I have to go into my emotion? No. I rather not having children or not, you know,
that's exactly what I wanted to raise as well, because I would hear someone like Gabriella 5 years ago, oh, you don't need to believe me, you don't need to hear, you just feel. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I don't have any fear. I just want to be successful. I want to go my way. And I would hide. I would not even acknowledge any fear. I would not feel any fear. I would not see any fear. So you raised the ball, which I want to pass it on to Gabriella, because it's many people, and I see right now so many people that are so scared of what's happening that don't want to admit, don't want to look, they just want to close the door and only talk about beautiful cars or cats or holidays or whatever to get distracted from what's happening, because they don't want to face the fear that is inside them. So how would you address these people? Because it's a lot of them that need healing.
Well, you know, an emotion is actually a chemical chemical reaction inside the body. And if we feel an emotion truly, without creating a big story around it, an emotion is something that is coming and going in maybe 30 to 60 seconds. So we're talking about this fear, but if I say, this is an easy example, if I say I feel fear because there is a pending war, then I'm kind of holding on to fear because the war has been going from February till now, and it probably continues. So I'm stuck in fear. If I say I feel fear and I leave everything away beyond the word I feel fear, there is nothing wrong with that. And I can actually find out where in the body it is, because imagined fear isn't even in the body, it's just in your head. The emotion of fear, for many people, it may be in the tummy, or it may be in the heart area. And then we just put our awareness here and feel it. And you will notice that this fear comes and goes. It's only stuck inside if we attach a story to it. That's the key to every emotion. I'm angry because my husband said something. It's like putting anger and the story together, and the anger stays. I feel fear because somebody did something or somebody is doing something. Connects the fear and the action, and then it becomes a permanent. And then over time, I get so tired of having to carry this emotion that I put a lid on it, I shut it down. But this is actually also a beginning of depression, because if I don't allow emotions to come up, then depression is the next natural thing. It's something that happened in my life, and I can speak from my own personal experience, that I was shut down to a point that I didn't just feel fear, I didn't feel anything. And it was an accident that I had when I was 6 years old. It had nothing to do with any circumstances out there that were happening at the time, but it was an accident I had where I nearly lost my life. And it was not a memory I was carrying around. It happened when I was 6, it got resolved, it got finished, it got done, but it was a shock and it was a trauma. And that fear of death, or that fear of I could lose my life, got stuck. A lid got put over it, and it also got stuck in a moment where I was in a high enthusiastic moment or emotion. I was actually playing with my brother, and he teased me to a point that out of nowhere this blind rage came, and I wanted to hit him. And I just forgot in this blind rage as a 6-year-old girl that there was a piece of window in between me and my brother, and I stuck my fist through. and I cut myself to the point that I nearly sliced my main artery open. Now, I was very, very lucky, and I lost a lot of blood, but I got to the doctor in time. I got stitched up. Everything was fine. And nobody spoke about it ever more. I didn't remember that memory until I was 40 years old, and I also, at that point, couldn't feel a thing. I was kind of numb on the inside, and all the things that I was doing were externally created. So I needed to create my own buzz, my own happiness, a new car, a new game, a game of golf, being good at this, doing this. Everything was externally created to give me a buzz. But as soon as the buzz stopped, there was nothing. And when I look back now, and this is like 25 years ago, if I look back now, it was numb, it was grey. If I turn it up one notch, I could say I was dead on the inside. And I don't know where my life would have taken me if I hadn't met Brandon and the journey, because it took all of a half a day to turn the lights on the inside. And it was like a wake-up call, a major wake-up call. And my life changed from one moment to the next. I could feel life, I could feel me, I felt connected. And life hasn't changed ever since. I have been connected since that moment. And it happened on the first day of this seminar, you know, so I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. And it's not that I have stopped doing this work. I have taken this tool into my life, and every time something happens, and life always presents us with something, I use it. And I really feel that I feel very passionate, because I know it's not just work that worked for me, but I have seen thousands of people around the world. And I have traveled with Brandon around the world. We offer the journey, or have offered the journey live in 44 countries. The book is translated in 26 languages. And I have seen people in all cultures, in all colors, at all ages, in all cloaks that they come with, heal from all kinds of things, from relationship issues to not being able to have children, from serious illness to whatever. And people kind of lose their baggage, and they start to look younger, they start to look freer, and life becomes, it's almost like we have a big curtain in front of us, and then the curtain opens, and you are connected to life. You can see the beauty that is here, and you see the good in life. You don't just focus on what's bad, what doesn't work. You actually see the good too, you know? And so if that hopefully aren't, and I do hear this myself, that people are scared to open the Pandora's box, you know, that if I let one emotion out, everything will come out. It's not like that. You do this work, and it's almost like there is a gentle unlayering, as if, you know, I studied homeopathy before I came to the journey, and it's like there is a metaphor that speaks about like the unlayering of the onion. It's like the physical intelligence, the body's intelligence, knows exactly what needs to be worked on first. And it doesn't throw you 25 issues in one go. It just kind of, it's like, this is what it starts with. Sometimes people come and say, I want to work on this, and then they're disappointed because a different issue showed up. And it's like, hold on a minute. You know, you've spent 40 years of your life or 50 years of your life accumulating issues. You've got to allow your body to have the wisdom to know what needs to uncovered first. And maybe there's 3 layers before you can get to this, I don't know, heart issue that you may have, or a joint issue. I've recently worked on something. I had knee problems. I'm 67 years old now. I had knee problems, and I'm a sporty person, and first time ever in my life. And I thought, gosh, why? You know, what have I done? And I went to a doctor, orthopedic doctor. And he said, well, in your age, he said, it's normal, you know, it's normal wear and tear. And I thought, well, I didn't think I would have that, you know. And I actually did a physical journey, and it was so interesting because there was an issue that came up, I can't even remember, and it had nothing to do with the knee. And when we came to the end of the process, my husband actually did the process with me, and I said that I don't think that had anything to do with the knee, you know. And so in the physical journey, you have a kind of a magical mystery tour that takes you inside your body, somewhere where there is a problem. And it did take me to my knee. And what was actually there is, I'm part of a beautiful project here in Greece, and it's bigger than I can actually put my mind to. And there was a fear. There was a real fear for me to kind of take that next step, because it was almost like it was too much. Mm-hmm. And it was like, wow, I didn't realize I had this little problem going in the back of my mind, that it's like, you know, you can do that much, but you can't do that much. And I kind of became clear that this was the issue, and somehow was able to clear this and come into full acceptance of really embracing this new project in all of gratitude. And my knees have been really well since then. So it's crazy. Our body does all kinds of things, and it's all the wisdom already is inside of us, you know. And so, yes, I go to the doctor because I want to know how serious an injury is before I go skiing. You know, I wanted to go skiing, and I thought, can I? And so, so there it was, you know. So I did go skiing.
Great. Well, actually, I was listening to you and thinking how interesting our mind, our brain is functioning. Because I've done a journey process discovering exactly this fear for a bigger project than myself. But my reaction was that I gain a lot of weight, because in my mind I thought if I gain weight I become stronger. Yeah. So I had to clear that up even before, opening for the new project, and also considering losing weight, because I was still accumulating weight. I didn't know why, and I discovered this. So what actually you were saying, before that, sorry, I have a disclaimer. As you know, in this show, we say we go together with all our tools. So yes, we go to our doctor, as you heard also from Gaby, to see what it is and to approach it from a medical point of view. And we can search for the emotional root cause, and we go and clear that too. So we don't have to repeat it and manifest it, and we go we start that emotional healing from there. So we go like this. We don't say this or the other one. And the other thing that I want to mention to you is that Brendan Base has allowed us to offer the book that you heard Gaby mention it, The Journey, as PDF in Romanian for free. So you just ask at the Facebook page. You can give me a message, and you can have it for free. Thank you again, Journey and Brendan. And what I wanted to ask you, Gaby, is what you're saying about the fear. Is that a life without fear, it's actually allowing yourself to go through fear every time you feel it?
You can, and I do believe when we have done some work on ourselves, if we have cleared some of the bigger issues in our life, and these things are not triggered anymore, it doesn't show up so much. You know, and if something happens and I feel fear, I do open with it. I really do open with it. I drop through. I find out where it arises from, or why it's arising from. But what has actually left for me is this imagined fear. I have really, through the work that we have done, and a full 26 years by now, have the blessing to be in present moment awareness. Now, I'm not a holy person. I'm a very normal, down-to-earth person, but a lot of my time I'm present and here now. And I have just cut some beetroot before I came on, so I'm aware I have red hands, so I do apologize just in case you worried. Why has she got red fingers? What does she do? It's not a religious cult. I just had some beetroot for dinner, and I needed to peel it.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that, but now that you mentioned.
So where was I? What did I say just before the beetroot?
We were talking about that if you go through the process, then the fear comes.
So the present moment awareness to, I'm not triggered every 5 minutes by more fear and more fear and more fear. This mind-driven fear that lies in the future. You see, if my mind is invested in tomorrow and in the future, present moment awareness is not possible. But if I'm in present moment awareness, there is nothing here right now that I should be scared of. If I watch the news, if I read the newspapers, I can read what is going on, but it doesn't, it's like, oh my goodness, there's compassion. There's compassion for what is happening, and always a prayer for peace. That comes almost uninvited. Every time I see something, it's just, and it's not wishing and hoping, it's just a sincere, heartfelt prayer for the world that we come to peace. But it doesn't throw me into fear every 5 minutes. And if there is an extended period where I feel like I'm fearful for whatever reasons, for money reasons or for this reason or that reason, I take time and I go after it. I find out where it arises from, what caused it in the first place. And if it's to do with something old or something to do with, as we also work with in the journey, ego fixation, then ego fixation is very much related to a fear of non-existence, or in simple words, fear of death, then this is something that I have the tools to work with and to clear out. And that is what the invitation is for to everyone. And why we say, emotions, there is nothing to be scared of, because I have accompanied people through the worst, most feared emotions. And if you really stay present, they survived. And if what I'm saying is, if you stay present just to the emotion, feel where in the body it is, it actually comes and goes. And Brandon always uses the most beautiful metaphor. She's done it again this morning. We're just in the middle of a retreat, an online retreat, where it was very much to do with emotions. And she said, how about a little baby? A little baby can go through a myriad of emotions within seconds, and it's like you have a rattle in front of the baby and it's like, ooh, and then the tummy hurts and it's, oh, and it's like, and then a dog walks past and it's scared and it's like, woo, it's like it goes from one to the next, but it's normal. We are human beings. It's when we don't feel, we have shut down to life. We have shut down our connection to life itself. If we don't feel, how can we connect to anything? I really do believe that emotions connect us to each other, to life, to ourselves. Because in the core of every emotion is the gateway to the soul. And that is the core and the key of Brandon's work. And whoever tells me that they don't want to go in their soul, which is home, which is myself, then I don't quite know what to say, because then there is a story or a belief of what emotion is or could be or might be. And that's another fear. It's another imagined fear of something in the future, something that, and it can be a whole pattern that we run our life like that. And yet the beauty and the magic and wonder of life is here. It is in the present moment. I'm almost certain we are here, born into this life every time, however many times we come, in order to learn that, in order to learn and experience and remember who we are. And who we are in the core, in the heart, in the soul, is unconditional love, is boundless freedom, is a peace that passes understanding. This is who we are. And if we don't want to feel emotion, then we block that. We throw that away. And this is our wake-up call. I think the world is in the middle of a major, big wake-up call.
Yes, and we keep having these major wake-up calls, but we don't want to wake up. And yes, thank you for mentioning that with children, because I've experienced that with my girls. Every time I forget who I am, I can look at a child of 1 year old, 2 years old, and you can see how open they are and how sincere they are. And yes, they go through all kind of emotion in seconds. And they find friends everywhere. And they are seeking for joy.